All right, so there's a classic start of the yoga practice here, and it's child pose. I often like to suggest the lifted child pose where your arms are on blocks. There's this big muscle called the lat right here, and that runs all the way down to the lumbar uh, hip fascia across to the glutes. So if we can really stretch out that muscle, it has a huge release through the back and the hips as well. So if you wanted to try it, child pose is easier, and then this is going to be your little bit bigger opening. Blocks in front of you, separated, and then you take the arms on the blocks. Okay, you got to try to get into this one slow, and then let your head fall either between or in front of the blocks. My arms are not wide, okay? They're about shoulder width distance. I'm taking some deep breaths. And the full version here, yogis, is where I bend my elbows and the hands are in prayer. They bend behind the head, okay? So just in case you want to go stronger, you can see now the back of my elbow, not the inner edge, guys, is on the block. And then the hands go behind the head toward the neck area. Let me start to breathe deep here. We're going to take about another minute or so. So if you're just joining, we're either in a child pose or I showed the two stronger variations of child pose where the arms are on blocks. We're targeting this big muscle called the latissimus dorsi that runs through the thoracolumbar fascia that connects to the glute and the transverse muscle chain, right? So it's a really nice release. A lot of times I just start you in down dog, which is similar, right? It'll get those underarms opening, all right? So listen, yogis, you want you to pace it out at your own, right? Sometimes I hold this a lot longer, but I'm going to keep you moving here. Let's come up to our tabletop and remove the blocks. And remember, simple Sundays. Let's do our cat-cow here. Nice inhale, arch the back. Big exhale, round the spine. Spread the back here, yogis. Okay, inhale. Arch the back. Exhale, round. If you want to add something like a wrist stretch, don't forget you can flip your fingers toward your knees. We got all regulars today. So remember that intermediate practice is more freedom. All right, it's not necessarily more difficult. It's less control of the practitioner by the instructor and a lot more kind of suggesting and reminding you to be yourself in the practice. Okay, the next little part you could do here is the circling of the spine or the more creative type of cat-cow. So I'm kind of moving in ways that feel good, getting that blood flow going without much strain yet. Remember, a warm-up isn't for, challenging your flexibility or strength. Warming the body up, increasing blood flow, breath rate, okay, heart rate, through some nice movements here. Okay, and I'm going to kind of keep moving just through exploring the body this morning. We're going to start by pressing the left foot down, lifting the right leg up. Now, I want you to try to go a little slow today. Just don't let your back arch. So it's a big, slow hip circle. I bring the knee in toward the chest, maybe even over to the left. I bring the knee wide. I bring the leg back. I turn it down, and I lift it up. And then I bring it back under across. Okay, lift it up and out. Turn it down. Bring it under. So nice, big hip circle. So it should be like slightly difficult. So, sometimes we do a little bit faster circle. I'm suggesting slower. If you feel like you need it faster, that's fine. Just depends on the day. We've been doing it faster as of lately. And then you reverse directions in that hip. So you go really slow. See if you can feel the rotational qualities of your hips. So the knee kind of turning in and out. And then also, obviously, you're feeling abduction, adduction. That's where the thighs are separating laterally, okay? And you're obviously feeling the forward and back qualities of the hip. Remember our 3 planes of motion, forward, back, side to side, and rotational, all right? We'll bring the right knee down. Looks like some of you are done there. Shake it out a little bit. That can burn a little bit, especially this early. And we're gonna do our second side, all right? Left leg rises. Just lift it back up for a moment there. And then you bring the left knee kind of toward the chest, even a little bit toward like your right armpit, like a little hyperadduction it's called. And then you bring the knee wide up and out. You're drawing big circles. This is totally safe to do cold. There's no weight on the joint. You're just moving the joint. Your legs are designed for weight bearing exercise. Like as soon as you get out of bed, the legs are like bearing weight immediately, right? So they're designed for that all day long. So we're taking, if you're just joining, I want you to take big, slow hip circles. All right. You're rotating a little bit. You're feeling it all. You're trying to pull the belly in so you don't dump weight into your lower back arch. All right. Last few moments here. You do about 3 each direction. So once you do 3, you reverse that direction of the circle. So you go back, out, wide, in and under, closer. Last few, guys. This is an exercise that you probably should be doing regularly. You know, we do hip circles a lot, but a lot of times it's not like a strengthening variation. Really good to strengthen the most complex movement of the hip. Some people do this with like ankle weights on. It's really tough at that point, and you go really slow as possible. All right. All right, guys. So that was for the hip. Now I want to do the spine and the arms, the chest. So you're going to meet in the tabletop. I'm going to do the full version today. If you want a little extra, you throw the right leg out to the side. Okay. Exhale, right arm underneath left armpit. Inhale, right arm up and open to the sky. All right, so get into your spinal rotation, your chest and back fly. Exhale, right arm underneath. Inhale, right arm up and open. Here's your other angle, just in case you're can't see it well. I'm in the tabletop. I reach the right leg out. And if it's too much, you keep the right knee in tabletop. You exhale, you inhale, and you start to feel your core. There's many versions of this, guys. You know, this thread the needle, just the strong, I mentioned that the term earlier is called, it's hyper-horizontal adduction and then abduction. So in essence, the arms are going like this, right? And then the core is like kind of driving the whole thing. I'm not gonna have you thread the needle. I'd like you to do just kind of one round of like 12, and then you do your second side. For some of us 12 might be too much. If you want to thread the needle and hold, you're more than welcome. All right, but I'm still in kind of, let's say, heat you up, wake you up, get the blood flow going. All right, right handle down, right knee goes back down, please. Left leg goes out. I think it looks like most of you are doing that. Left arm is going to reach underneath the right armpit on the exhale. Inhale, left arm up and open. I like to do a couple slow and then maybe speed it up a little bit. You know, you hear this a lot, like, I don't like fast yoga, I don't like slow yoga. You got to get that out of your head. You know, you're limiting yourself by, you don't want to get narrow-minded in the practice. Fast, your body it's good to move fast. We know it stimulates the brain in different ways. And the same with moving slow. Obviously, if you move fast too much, you got to slow down. But sometimes people, don't ever move fast. It's like the opposite side of the coin. You got to learn to speed it up here and there on a good day. Your muscles also work different. You have something called fast twitch muscle fibers and slow muscle twitch. So you have 2 types of fast twitch, only 1 type of slow twitch. So, our body's designed to move fast. Last few, looks like you guys are going good here. The way I like to suggest, I say like 6 to 12, but really the way I do this is I do it until I start to feel like a change, like, ooh, it was tight. And now it's feeling open and released. Okay, then I go to the next exercise. Unless I'm doing multiple sets, all right? All right, next exercise is the down dog, yogis. So it looks like most of you are going there. Let's hit the down dog, take a few breaths. I like to suggest getting into your feet, shaking out your head, yes and no, moving the hips a little side to side. Couple deep breaths here, lifting the sit bones up and back, trying to let your head hang low, pressing your palms down. Everyone knows these cues. get into that meditative breath work. Next posture is a plank posture. Not holding too long today. Simple Sundays. Shift forward to plank. You hold the plank just for at least 30 seconds. And then if you want more, you do your push-ups. If you're already ready, you could do something like chaturanga, where you bend the elbows and take your back bend on the inhale. But something in plank or area where you're starting to really tense up the whole body as one unit. A lot of what we call tension through the mid body. So your hips are going to want to drop. You don't let them. Okay. You engage your butt and you pull the belly in, you engage your thighs. If you're doing your push-ups, you still do that anyway. You see a lot of people doing push-ups. They're like super strong looking, but you see them doing the push-ups and their legs. I'm at like the Bay Club and Equinox every day, and people do push-ups in like such a weird way. Their whole lower body is like very disengaged, very lazy. And then their upper body's doing a push-up and they're sagging in the mid body. And that's not smart. You want to teach your whole body to work together here. It's a full body exercise. All right. Nice job. So meeting back and down dog. Walk your feet to the front of your mat. Some of you look like you're breaking, so I'm going to move forward. So it's a forward fold at the front of the mat. Inhale, half lift. You get your spinal length. So this is all basics, so I'm not demonstrating. I want to get you guys to stop looking at the screen so much. You forward fold. You can intertwine your forearms. You know the deal here. You're pulling your feet on a good day. You can sway side to side, exploring a little bit more. Yep, so inversions, a lot of head below the heart, right? It was down dog was inversion, child pose is inversion. Now this is. All right, bend the knees. Let's find a quick chair posture. Not going to hold you long here. Today, Sunday's not super difficult, right? Because you worked hard Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, and then today's a little bit more of a, not restorative, but just kind of healing yoga practice, all right? You find your chair pose. I like to do sometimes shift side to side. I like to even lift the leg. It's almost like you walk in chair. I like to go up and down. I've showed you that stuff. I even like to like move the body in like a transverse way. So I do chair every day, right? There's not one day off, right? So, I'll do I just kind of like move a little bit. This is side to side. This is up and down. I've walked forward a little bit, right? I've walked side to side with you guys in class. I've turned open to the side and turned around. So you can make chair a lot more exciting. So it doesn't have to be this limiting, rigid thing. I'll even get into this stuff. And if it's a warm up, there's not like weight, it's much more free. All right. You don't have to be so stiff there. All right, guys, big inhale. And you're going to stand up because that's a pretty good hold. You can loosen up for a moment. I'm going to go right into our first balance. Simple Sundays. I love this one here. The right knee comes up into the chest. Let's do left foot down. Your 10-finger bind, 2 inches below the knee. And what I want to do here is drive through my standing leg, pull my right knee up higher, flex my right foot, lift the chest. So I'm not here, yogis. Okay, I'm here, stacking that weight tall. Pulling up, shoulders back and down, hug, pull. So it is a little bit more of an intense pose now. I want you to feel your standing leg, mainly the back of the leg, okay? This is called wind removing pose. We do it on our back a lot in yoga, in the easy classes. Looks good, everyone. You should feel the left glute here, that butt turning on. All right, so it's an active extension with the opposite flexion. It's used in physical therapy, right? When the glutes don't activate well. Second side, right foot down, left knee lifts right into it. This is good. It's hand strength, opposite pinky on the bottom. So I don't do the same grip. I switch one down, and then boom, 2 inches below the knee on the shin. I drive, lift, elbows in, shoulders back and down, head back over the spine. I actually usually do this one on like a wobble board or like a Bosu ball, so I have more balance. But on an off day, it's just to stimulate the glute, right? You can just hold. And I mean, off day, like an easy day. So you take a couple breaths there. You know, there was this new thing that came out in the exercise science that it's been shown they're recommending 4 days minimum of strong, physical activity is how they put it. But really, what they mean is like exercise and maintenance for your body. 4 days a week now minimum. They used to say 3, but they upped that in the exercise physiology world. So they used to say 3 days a week minimum, and they just upped it. It was like last month in the scientific journal. Trying to remember which one it was from there. I saw it a couple of days ago. So now you're up. You have to go 4 days a week now, guys. All right, let's take that down here, yogis. Let's find our first lunge. So we're going to stay with this plane right now, right? We're going to take a couple stretches coming up shortly, all right? Left foot goes right back. You find your lunge. Now, I'm going to give you some options. We got all regulars today. We've done stuff like this. We've done stuff like this. We just kind of did the knee up, but more movement's good. We've done stuff like this, okay, where I'm twisting and turning. We've done stuff like this. I want you to take a lunge with your right leg forward. Remember I said intermediate practice is more freedom? If you've ever been to an advanced class, sometimes they call them master classes in yoga. I've mentioned this before. There's the lead instructor. It's just the person who's instructed the most, right? Who's been practicing the longest. But everyone else most likely is a teacher. And you just go in the room and you do your own practice, and the lead instructor walks around and kind of gives you pointers. No matter what you're doing, this person over here doing lunges, person over here doing shavasana, person over here doing headstand, and the teacher walks around, gives no cues. They don't say do this pose. Okay, let's do our second side, please. Some type of lunge, be creative. I'm trying to get you to explore your practice a little bit more this morning. So you do your lunge because it's a fundamental. We did our squat because it's a fundamental. But you're putting your own little sauce on it, all right? What does your body need? You need to move your legs, you need to move your arm, you need to be still this morning. You need to put the back knee down. Do you want to seal the back heel? You want to do warrior one? If you get to do a lunge every day, you can't do all of them. You got to pick one. And what do you do less of? Or do you need softer? You need stronger? And you guys know your cues, your posture, right? You don't want to hunch and arch your back. You don't want your head going forward. You don't want your shoulders rolling forward. That's all stuff we got to be aware of. You're all working your breath. So you all have a similar practice in a lot of ways. So advanced practice is you're on your own, and I walk around and just give you tips and cues individually. Intermediate practice is half control, half freedom. And beginners is all control. You don't get to do anything on your own, really. Okay. All right, that looks pretty good. 1 or 2 years, looks like you're done, but we'll keep going here. All right, so now we did the legs together, we did legs forward and back. Now we're gonna go the abduction here. All right, so it's like a second round of squat. You did your 2 lunges, you did your first squat, and now you did a second squat. So now, this is one I also do regularly. Usually a lot of times I'll do squat, it'll kind of look like this, and then I'll end up in this widest part, okay? So let's go to that. It's called angled chair in yoga, or some people call it throne or goddess. What do you want to work on here today, guys? Do you want to go a little side bend? You haven't done that yet. If I was in practice, I might say, I need to get my side body, okay? If you want to do a little bounce, get those legs really firing because you need your leg strength more, okay? That's always good. You can lift the heel, get into there. So we're going to come back together as a group here, but in these standing postures, you had your forward bend, you had your squat, you had your balance, you had your lunge. Now you have your second squat with sagittal and coronal. Transverse is a big one here. After this, we're going to come back to the ground. We're going to stretch a little bit more. So work here. All right, your lunges, your squats are work because you're going to be stretching here in a moment, okay? That's always a big question, in fitness. Do I stretch before my exercise? Do I stretch during it? Do I stretch after? Really, the answer is all of it. It depends on the day. Some days I will work out really hard for hours and I don't really stretch that much. Some days I only stretch the whole time. Some days I do it before, some days in the middle, some days after. It's more intuition, guys. There's no best way for all people and all days. There's so much, context to all these questions. Um, in my opinion, the variety is the best. You keep your body guessing, you confuse the muscles. All right. A lot of you look down there. I'm not going to have you forward fold there, but you could look at some of you going there. All right. We're going to step up to the top of our mat now. You did your squats, your lunges, your balance. Let's do our sun salutation just to get big movement now. All right. You step up to the top of your mat, take a big inhale, and a big exhale. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, forward bend. Inhale, half lift. Here's where you get that first chaturanga if you didn't take any earlier. Again, this is a thing. Some days I do a ton of. Some days, a couple days I don't do any of them, right? But usually something in cobra or plank most days, all right? Downward facing dog. Now this starts the stretch here. It's second down dog hold. It's the three-legged dog, right leg high, open the hip. All right. In some world, it's called a half cobra. It's really fantastic because it's hip extension, which means your femur bone is going up behind you as much as possible. So it's a great hip flexor stretch. You feel it through the right front outer hip. Everyone's always trying to release that place in the body, right? And usually we do the next pose for it, but this is really unreal for it. Okay, let's shift forward to plank. Let's bring that right knee into the chest. Let's step our right foot forward. Today we're going to bring the back knee down, Anjanasana. We should be doing this posture often. So now we're here, yogis. The back knee is down. Now look at my front knee over my front heel. Just notice I'm not here, guys. Okay, I want to crawl that knee back. And then I want to lift the heart, walk the blocks back, chest back. If you want more, left arm up. If you want a lot, both arms up. There's also this version, guys. You need the shoulder opener if you haven't done it yet today. Where I bring your hands behind the lower back. Press the big toes down. Don't just dump weight. In my opinion, you walk around these yoga rooms, we need to really emphasize strength. Yogis aren't that strong in general. Compared, we've stretched so much that we think we're strong, but all that stretching and light body weight movements, it's not really strengthening the body that much. So my goal is to kind of enforce the idea of getting you to activate more. All right, so you want to press the big toes down, just dump weight, kind of squeeze your pelvic floor and lift the belly. Okay, last 2 breaths here. People who don't strengthen enough need more strength focus, all right? And vice versa. Weightlifters need to stretch more, right? So here we go. Let's straighten our front leg. Take that big hamstring stretch now. There's another one I should be doing a little bit more with you guys. Right hip back and down. Flex the foot. Press the feet down. So now front leg is straight. Spine was upright going back. Now spine is long going forward, okay? Shift forward with that chest, and then go ahead and take that big forward bend. You can explore kind of rolling on the inner edge of the heel, outer edge of the heel. See how the toes turn in a little bit? That makes it dynamic, rotation. If you're feeling good, you walk your blocks back and you start to slide the foot more forward, you go full splits. Last few breaths here, please. Yeah, just notice if your spine over rounds too much, unless you're intentionally doing what's called forehead to knee, like a hyperspinal rounding to stretch in a certain way. It's like rabbit pose, if you know that one. Okay, and then what we're going to do, guys, is you're kind of on your own. You bend the front knee, the right leg goes back and up where it started. Remember the half scorpion? And then we're not doing a ton of chaturangas today, but you can do one now if you'd like. You can also do a little handstand hop, or easier if you missed the beginning, we did cat-cows, child pose. Those are our first 2 positions. I know a lot of you showed up after we started, so You can get that in here now if you missed it. Extra push-ups. A lot of days I do this thing, a few days a week, right? I'll do like 100 push-ups. So it'll usually be like 3 sets, like 30 something each of push-ups. It's a really good way to strengthen your upper body quickly. So if you want to get some extra push-up rounds in here, you kind of go until you're tired, and then you'll be stretching again, right? So you can do something strong in between. That's why I mentioned handstand, chaturanga, push-ups. Okay, and then the left leg's going to go forward, but we start with the left leg high. You open up the hip. So some of you are going way on your own. That's totally fine. So you lift the left leg up, you open it, so you're stacking your left hip top your right. You're lengthening through the side bodies, breathing. I think you're all ahead of me, but I see 1 or 2 of you there. All right, eventually we're going to shift the plank. We'll step the left foot forward. Anjaneyasana is with the back knee down. So it's lunge, back knee down, but make sure you curl your back knee back, okay? You press the big toes down, you walk your blocks back, you lift your chest. You can even lift the chin a little bit, and you can bring the arms up or behind you again if you're doing that chest shoulder opener. Couple of breaths here. This can be rather intense, right? So we've moved between these postures before, where you inhale Anjaneyasana, exhale half splits, inhale Anjaneyasana. Just a reminder in case you feel like you need extra movement, right? So our second part is the half splits. You base it for your body. Maybe you need extra hip flexor on the right side, on the right leg back, this side. Maybe you don't need as much left hamstring. So how can you get better at modifying and adjusting the practice, the timing, the positions for your needs currently? That's called intermediate yoga, guys. It's a practice of that. You guys know the poses. But can you learn to listen inside and base what you're doing off that than just some random teacher telling you that what's best for you? Nice. And full splits is the big option, right? Whereas Anjaneyasana is the back bend, you anterior tilt spinal extension. Half splits is posterior tilt and spinal flexion. So it is a big opposite, not only for the legs, but the pelvis and the spine. All right. So when you're ready, guys, you're going to take the next vinyasa, chaturanga, handstand, headstand, push-ups, child pose, cat-cow. So you take a moment here. What does your body need? Stronger, lighter, challenge, easy. And you take a good 30, 40 seconds and you do your thing here now. Some of you need shavasana. Is that what's happening? Remember that your hamstrings and your glutes, you kind of work the same as your hip flexors and your quads in that relationship. And those two right there together are such a fantastic, way to cover all that stuff. The front of the hip and the back of the hip, let's call it. All right. All right. So let's meet in down dog, yogis. No rush getting there. You take your time. So I want to go strong back body now. So we're going to lay down on the chest. All right. So we're going to take a little time to do something here. Strengthening the back of the legs too, right? Because we just kind of stretched them both. Even though we're lengthening the front body, you gotta really strengthen it now. So I want to do the opposite leg and arm stuff. We're going to do actually a couple rounds. Okay. So my arms are going to go wide. My feet are going to go wide. Feet are almost matched with distance. Okay. I'm going to lift the chest. Make sure you lengthen your core here. Okay, I just want you to kind of go into this. I'll demonstrate quick. Engage your thighs. Lift your right leg, lift your left arm.
Lengthen the neck, feel across the body. Remember I said the lat across the back to the opposite glute connects. Okay, so this is a functional training. Left hand, right foot down, lift the chest. Left leg, right arm. So I pause for about a good 10, 15 seconds. Okay, and then I bring the right hand, left foot down, right leg lifts, first side, left arm. So it's opposite leg and arm. Okay, then you put your right hand, left foot down, then you lift the left arm, right leg. Don't over jam the neck. You know, you can lift the chin forward and up, but don't over like crank back into it, okay? You don't want your neck position to be the reason you have to stop this. So try to lengthen through the neck, and you can extend it a little bit, which means like tilt the chin up, but don't, find some middle ground. Okay, again, you do the first side. You're trying to get to like 3 to 5 sets here, and you can go faster some days, yogis. You can go kind of like inhale up, exhale down, inhale up, exhale down. If you're feeling good and you can get the muscle contractions quality. Sometimes you kind of like sit in this and you do like as max reps. You go to like 20 or 30 per side. And you're alternating up, down, opposite leg, opposite arm. If you're new to this, you're not going to be able to do that many, right? Because it's probably going to be strenuous, but it's only one side. It is very closed chain in nature, and there's no weight, so it's very minimal range. Consider it a beginner exercise, all right? So it looks like a lot of you are taking a break. That's cool. Listen, what we're going to do now, you're going to do the same thing. So you're going to lift your chest. I want you to come to the fingertips. Arms are out wide on the fingertips. Now I just want you to lift both legs. So you're not going to lift your arms yet. Okay, so you're here, and you're up here. Now, I said fingertips, you could do palms. I just want you to lift both legs down and really work on pulling your belly in. Palms are still down, chest still lifting, belly in. Straighten the legs, point the toes, lift the legs higher from the thigh, from the hip. Okay, a couple more breaths. You can like pulse up, but it's not a rock. Be careful on that one. It's a very small movement. Okay, big inhale, feet down, take a break, windshield light. So you did a few stretches, right? Now we're more in strength world here. So you got one more kind of closer, which is the arms and the legs. You can do arms wide, or you can switch it up. You can do arms like a field goal post. You can do arms wide like we do regularly. You can arms down by sides a little easier, okay? Lift the chest, arms, now lift the legs. Just a few breaths, guys. Think length through your core and spine. Think length through your legs. So now you get your third round, everything lifts. I follow the Tom Myers, myofascial scientist, very famous in the anatomy world. And, he was said a post yesterday about, the first place to give via gravity's compression pattern and posture is the back line, and it's just, you have to strengthen your back body. It's so key, and it's really not done enough in the average person, even people who are like fitness guy people. The front body is kind of really built, and the back body, myself included. I do yoga a lot, and it's a lot of front body. You gotta lift that chest and legs one more time. And that's like 3 sets in a row for the back body, all different. So you take a little break, and then we're gonna do the side body now. So I'm gonna do a forearm half side plank with the lateral leg lift. So this is tough stuff we're working into now, this center of class, but you don't have much time left, so stay focused here, right? So now it's kind of like part of the back body, yogis. So now we come into the side after tightening up the back, the transverse and the symmetrical. So now you're gonna roll onto your left, or either side is fine. What I don't wanna see though is curling into a ball. I want your knees back, okay? And then my left forearm down, I lift the hips. Now,
there's a lot of different things you can do here. A beginner, you'd have them hold. You squeeze the glutes, pull the belly in. You might go here where you lift the leg, but hips more forward. You might even go up and down a little bit. So where this leg is moving in abduction, this one's still. You feel good, you can even drop the hips, lift up. So I'm moving the full body more. Okay, last few moments on our first side. You should feel it in your outer hip, your shoulder, and hopefully a little bit through the side body.
Okay, then you go on your own pace because we're all different levels and spaces today, and you do your second side. You can do full side plank if you want, yogis. It's different, and some of us side plank can be such a struggle. You can't hold it very long. Sometimes it's good to hold an easier posture longer. I'm all about intensity and holding that really difficult pose, but some days it's really good. Like I do side plank like this a lot, especially if it's earlier in practice on an easier day. You can get a lot of quality muscular contractions that side plank is kind of more, like I said, strenuous. You don't get that quality. So you have the option of lifting the thigh. That's an abduction, outer hips. You have the option to dip your hips down and then lift them up too. Maybe a little bit of both, separate or even together. Remember, we're in strength part of class. We did the stretching. Stretching is coming up again soon here, yogis, right? So, the average person, right? When you think of physical activity, when you think of it, you think of strength and cardiovascular work before you think of stretching. Stretching is like after, because you did the strength and the cardio too much. You walk too far, you strengthen too much, and then the next day you got to stretch. Stretch is like the next tier after the more important part. When you do the classic strong yoga practice, it's like all strengthening. They're working on strengthening their spine, their core, and their back, and their legs, so they can meditate and sit upright better. All right. Listen, guys, slowly. Let's make our way. If you need a quick child pose, I'm just going to do the one round today in that one. You're more than welcome to do it extra if you'd like. Child pose just for a brief moment here. All right. So we did the arms in the back. We did the arms on the side. I want to do one more big arm in the front. And this would be the inversion opportunity. So if you could do headstand, this is it. If you want to do handstand at the wall, I like to use dolphin posture. So we want what's called like a shoulder press. In fitness, you take a bar like this and you'd go like this. And in yoga, we would do something like down dog, hold up here, or dolphin. All right. So easiest is down dog hold. Middle ground would be a dolphin hold. Strongest would be handstand, forearm stand, headstand hold. Middle ground is the dolphin, but your arms are above your head with weight on them. Yogis, bearing weight like that where it's really difficult is good for your bones. All right, you have to signal strain on the bone if you want bone strength, and bone strain is what it really it kind of like hurts deep in the muscle. So if you always avoid dolphin because it stings, and that's what people always say. Oh, I can't do it; it hurts my shoulder. Well, yeah, you can't just avoid something every time your body's a little uncomfortable. Your bones are going to fall apart. The reason, kids' bones are growing so fast because they're falling, they're running, they're stomping, they're all over the place. They're not scared to get hurt. They're running, they fall, they get hurt, and then they keep going. They don't stop because they fall a little bit, because it hurts a little bit. Then we get to adults and we get too, we think our body's too fragile. And you treat it too fragile, it becomes fragile. All right, so last few moments here, guys. You know, it's just important to remember and remind yourself that you are very strong and your body is very strong. Uh, I know sometimes it doesn't feel like that. You got to remind yourself, okay? And each day you got to dig deep and remember your long-term goals. Because once that bone deterioration gets far down the road, it's hard to bring it back, okay? Bone building is a system of the body that can atrophy. That's that new discovery that was a few years back now. But they thought it was like tough. You couldn't really build bone that well. And there was like some people could and some people couldn't. But they realized that it was an atrophy of process. Your body hasn't built bone 20, 30 years. And you think it can't anymore, but it's the system that's not working well. All right, nice job there, guys. Listen, we're gonna stand up. We're gonna do our final short sequence weight bearing on the legs. Nothing crazy today. So you're just gonna make your up to standing. If you wanna do a vinyasa or something, that's fine.
So you hit the arms, boom. We did the arms here, not here. You did one here. You got strong out here. Now the legs, all right? Not too many lunges. I want to go into the hinge, the balance. So think of the second tier of the balance, okay? You know me, it's the warrior three, all right? We did the side plank, we did the warrior three now. Left foot hovers, chest comes down. Now you could go up and down, right? If you wanted to work your hinges in dynamic form, I'm giving you freedom again. If you want to do something like this, where you go down and up a little bit, or just hold here. If you wanted to do, there is half moon hinge, where you go here, 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 here. But I want the chest, either way, the spine to be parallel to the floor. That's called the hinge. If your legs open, if your hips open or not, doesn't really matter here. If you feel like you need a little side body strength, outer hip more, you go half moon. You keep the hip down, your warrior three, it's more glute maximus, way more glute maximus, the top leg. Looks good, everyone, nice. You're doing your bent over practice. You can even do revolve moon. We're not doing them all today. Remember we did the very traditional practice on Thursday? All the moon, half, and warrior three, revolve, triangles, revolve, all those ones, okay? Then you come back up, you do your second side. After you struggle, okay? So some people hold this 5 seconds today, you're already struggling. Some people have to hold it a minute. There you go. Shake it out in between so you can do your second side quality, especially if that left leg is your weaker leg. Go ahead. And everyone's working, don't run your spine too much. Keep the belly pulling in. If you're doing warrior three, you don't let the hip open. If you're doing half moon, you open the hip a lot. If you're doing half moon, left side body lengthens here. A few years are doing that. Ooh, nice, Donna. Some weights in there. I like that. Ooh, a little standing split, like that. Ooh, nice. Yeah, Stephen. Putting them together, a little warrior three into half moon. We've done that before. In like intermediate practice yogis, we've done this before. It's been a while, but you'll kind of be on the one leg, and then it's the standing hip movement here. So this is warrior three, down hip, and then I open the hip, and then I go down with the left hip, open with the left hip, right? So you're kind of like you're doing like this. Doesn't look like that, but you're here, and you're opening, closing. Opening, closing, and all the while it's this hip that's doing that action. It's a really good motion. It's definitely intermediate for sure. It's a lot in your lower back. All right, so when you're done there, take your time. I want to do the toe balance. So this is to strengthen your feet. It is for balance. So listen, stand up. Looks like most of you are done. One or two, you're still going. We're almost done here, guys. Chair posture. Arms forward though today, right out in front of you. It's not a deep chair, and I want you to lift your heels. All right. It's an anti-hinge. You just came from hinge. I do not want to see your chest forward. Your chest is stacked. Posture. Shoulders over hips. Okay. So you're lifting your heels. Your knees are bent slightly. Yep. You're lifting your heels higher.
Okay, a couple more breaths. This one's gonna be awkward. It's gonna hurt a little bit, shake a little bit. Yogis, we need to strengthen the feet. That's key. It changes the gait, how you walk. Okay, listen. And then you listen, you keep your heels lifted, you stand up all the way. And you reach your arms to the sky now. So it's like as tall and as long as you can make your body. So it's an extended heel lift, and we're just trying to hold that. Yeah, looks good. And then you go back to the chair one more time, the arms forward, the knees bend a little bit. They don't need to go deep. You can go deep and you practice it a lot, but don't be too crazy now. Nice. I like that little step forward and back. That's cool. Being a little creative in the pose, right? One more time, you stand all the way up, you reach your arms up. Straight legs, yep, straight arms to the sky. Pull your ribs in, don't arch your back. Pull the belly in, squeeze your butt a little bit more, thighs a little bit more, heels higher. Nice. You find this a lot. A lot of people's feet are so weak, and you gotta be careful with that, yogis. That's where it all starts. All right. Listen, find that chair again, hinge, chest on your thighs. And if you want to take a crow pose now, kind of an arm balance, you can plant your hands. If not, a yogi squat will do you good here. All right. So either a yoga squat or a crow. Those two are often in the Hatha Yoga interchangeable. Yogis, what we're going to do is last two challenge little exercises, a quick boat, a quick bridge, and then a stretch or two and you're done. All right. So we're here in the end. I see one or two of you doing crow. All right, listen, we're gonna eventually go down to your buttocks. So I want one little ab trainer. Planks are not that great for abs. You did your side plank. That one's okay for abs. Pretty good obliques. Not gonna get rectus abdominis well, but high boat is where you're sitting upright, arms forward, chest lifting. Low boat is when you're on the ground. A lot of times we go high boat, low boat. Intermediate style. I'm suggesting an exercise for a certain body part. Which one do you want to do today? An abdominal. That's, you think of crunches, you think of sit-ups, you think of twists. We've done a lot of them over time. Can you do one strong go at your abs? When it's simple, you just hold low boat. You get your lower back down, shoulder blades hover, legs either bent or even reaching forward. Maybe do a little pulse. We've done a lot of leg swings where the legs go up and down. We've done the leg swings where there's bicycling. So this is for like our front core, and then the final bridge, or if you're going big wheel or up table, that would be the final like back core, let's say. All right. Nice. A couple of you still going. We'll keep going here until I see most of you is done. I do a little abs most days of the week. I don't. There once in a while, like if I take a few days off, I'll hit my abs really hard, but then they get like really sore. It's just not ideal. So I'll do a little every day. The consistent memory of the body, the consistent signal, not a strong signal once in a while. Okay. The consistent signal without beating it up too much. All right. So it looks like a lot of you are done with your abs. We're going to lay on our back and do those good old bridges. Okay. So feet down, you feel good. You do one-legged bridge. You feel great. You do wheel. You want to go sit upright and do up table, one-legged hip thrust, reverse plank. Wonderful. Okay. Let's do something with our butts firing, the hamstrings firing. If you want to go really awesome, you do your sliding bridges. You put your feet on a blanket on the hardwood floor. You lift your bridge. You slide your legs forward. Keep your hips lifted. You slide them back. You want to go crazy and you do your one-legged sliding bridges. But be careful, guys. You could easily strain your hamstring there. I want you to remember sliding bridges and do them more often, guys, where the hamstring is in flexion. Because remember, don't forget your hamstring has two main actions. It crosses two joints, the back of the hip, back of the knee. So we extend the hip. So it's an extension muscle in its upper form. That's the bridge mainly. But when you're in the bridge, if you pull your heels toward your shoulders more,
Then you get the knee flexion, so it's double hamstring. So hamstring is an interesting one. It's a flexion muscle and an extension muscle. Quadriceps are like that too, right? But they're extensors in the knee, flexors at the hip. Not many muscles do extension and flexion, right? So you're doing your final bridges here. I'd like you to get like 2 rounds with this one if you can. We did the active extensions on our chest earlier, okay? It's stretching after this, guys, okay? All right. Well, yeah, a lot of you is still going. If you're feeling good, you always want to capitalize on it. Like I said, you do not need to stretch at the end of every yoga class. All right. It is good to unwind a little bit, but if you're feeling good, you do 3 to 4 sets of bridge right now. Okay. Come on. Have those days where you push yourself. Okay. And I like to suggest it's when you're feeling extra energy, clarity, and having a good day. You take advantage of the feeling good in the body. So I think it'd be good to stretch the inner and outer hips. Hamstrings are done. Your hip flexors are done. We didn't really do a great quad stretch, but you can't do everything every day. So it might be good to do like a figure 4, come up and do like a pigeon, a Gomukhasana, a seated double pigeon, or Sukhasana. So I'm thinking like an outer hip stretch, like the IT band, piriformis. That's the deep rotator underneath your glute. So how about I say first kind of hip opener of choice, a little freedom now. That's what I mean by like yogis overstretching. A lot of yogis have, the legs aren't very strong, and then you get them and do 20 stretches. And we know yogis, it's proven that stretching can make your legs weaker. Stretches weaken muscle. It's not in every case, but you be careful. Your glutes are real weak and you keep stretching the glutes more and more. That's not smart. I know stretching can feel good because the muscles are tight, but what happens is muscles get tight and weak. It's like the worst combo. A lot of times yogis are lengthened and weak. They're not tight and weak. So they're not the worst combo. All right. So you switch sides of your first hip opener if you're doing one. We're going to do 2 hip openers and then the core release. All right. Yeah, if you're feeling good, you want to do an inversion or something, awesome. I don't see anyone going for any more hip openers, so that's fine. I was going to say maybe an inner thigh opener. We didn't do straddle. We did a goddess or a wide angled chair. We did a lot of like a hinge and a lunge, but not much where the legs are really widening laterally. So if you want to do a seated straddle forward fold, happy baby can be that. Just konasana, soles of the feet together, knees open. If you want to go huge, it's called frog posture. You tabletop, knees wide, feet wide, you come on your forearms, and the knees separate. So it's like goddess, but on your forearms on the floor. We didn't really do the inner thigh opener. If you want to get one in now quick, that might be nice. Remember that your hip flexors connect to your hip flexors connect to psoas, right? So a lot of times when we're trying to release the psoas, we strengthen the hip flexor, take pressure off of it. We also stretch it a lot, right? So it's kind of not understood, right? That your adductors, your inner thigh, your groin, it's often called, has a huge role in the health of the psoas, which is one of those really tight, deep muscles that people get, hip flexors. Nice. Yeah, some of you is doing some strength, some of you is doing some different stretches. I like that. Okay, and then I was thinking like a torso release. We didn't do like many big twists. So a big twist seated, where you bring the right knee across and you twist across that side. Or if you lay on your back, bring a knee in across the body. But really, it's, you guys, it can be more like plow. It can be sit up, touch your toes. It's more, like I said, it's like a hip release and a torso release. It doesn't have to be like pigeon and twist. It's just a really good one that works well together. So that's why it's very common in yoga. But it's just filling that gap of like a hip and then a torso. So listen, guys, you got about 1 more minute or so, 1.5 more minutes. If you want to put your legs up the wall, if you want to put a block under your butt or your chest, we didn't do restorative fish and restorative bridge. You can't beat on some days. What's one more thing your body might need? Some of you are still doing your twist. And I'm just going to guide you into meditation, and then I'm going to leave you there. I want you to work. Remember, we used to do Sundays. I thought about starting this class at 7:30, so we can go hour 15. I have my class at 9:15 down in Rosecrans. So last week I went to 9 by accident, and I was almost late. But I would like you try to extend your shavasana some days, guys. It's really important to have the repetitive memory of parasympathetic response. It's called relaxation practice. If you have trouble relaxing, it should be your main practice. Yeah, you can exercise every day, but you don't relax during the day at all. If you don't know about the parasympathetic and sympathetic nervous system, I want you to do some research. Look on YouTube for a video about this, how they affect you, certain brain pattern fire. You get more people who don't rest enough, relax enough, they're more prone to stress. You're always stimulating the sympathetic nervous system in strong exercise. So you get this repetitive pattern of fight or flight brain, heart rate increase. Certain brain areas hit fire. People who relax more, meditate more, they're way more like just composed and calm. So this is your opportunity to do it as a group here in the end, where you relax, all right? So let's find a closing meditation when you're ready, please. You know what to do. You get comfortable. You put pillows under your knees, towels over your eyes. You shake it out to get really comfortable. That's key. So you cannot move. You go into a trance. It's almost like you forget about your body. And you go there until you don't want to leave. 5, 10, 15 minutes, a half an hour. You really go for it, guys. So good for you. So you hold here, you relax your breath, your eyes, you just melt into the floor, you let go. And I'm going to leave you here today, guys. And I really appreciate you guys still showing up and working hard. Yoga core is on this Tuesday, and then Hatha Yoga this Thursday, okay? Have a great rest of your Sunday. Namaste, yogis. Krishna.